Yo guys, what is good and welcome back to another video. It is New Year's Eve. How has this year disappeared so quickly? I have no idea. I hope you guys have had a good year. I hope it's been fruitful. I hope you have worked hard and you have reaped the benefits of your efforts. You've been happy, healthy, and yeah, you're looking forward to starting 2020. Now, today's video, I'm going to be listing sort of a variety of things that I have planned for next year. There won't be anything specific that I talk about because I want this to be a little bit of a video that you guys can learn from, or that you can possibly, possibly you might use some of the things that I talk about to help you make your 2020 the best it can be too. So guys, without further ado, let's get into the last video of 2019. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so one of the things that I am doing at the moment, and I tend to do it every year between Christmas and New Year's, is I like to get myself a journal, a notepad, some form of jotter, something that I'm going to use throughout the year to help keep me focused, keep me on track, be that sort of as a diary, as a way of putting my thoughts onto paper, or as a method of planning new tasks and sort of setting new goals. And what I do with said journal is I write down a list of targets, a list of goals. I mean, it's multifunctional, you can use it for lots of different things, but it's a list essentially of things that I would quite like to achieve between sort of now and this time next year. If you haven't already done this, I think it's a really good idea. I personally love lists. I know it's, I think a lot of people do, but I think in order to really be successful, you need to plan. A popular saying, and it's a saying that I love, is if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So I write a list down at the beginning or sort of the end of each year, ready for the next year, to just help keep me on track, keep me focused, and to have sort of those points that I can check off. And if nothing else, it's a visual representation, a visual way to see where you're doing well and where you need to continue focusing on in order to achieve and hit those goals that you've got. One of the first things, and I usually put this on sort of my to-do list or in a journal every year, is to try and become a little bit more worldly knowledgeable, to educate myself and be proactive in doing so. So things like reading more books, be that fiction or non-fiction, reading more journals, investing in myself. And that doesn't have to be through just reading books endlessly. You can do that through audiobooks, you can do that through podcasts, you can do that through YouTube. But rather than, I don't want to say this in a negative negative connotation, but rather than wasting your time on sort of pointless entertainment, so binge watching a series on Netflix or streaming through cat videos on YouTube, spending those precious moments to invest in your own education and to make yourself more knowledgeable as a result. I think if we start to do that, we start to get a different idea and understanding of the world, and it inspires you a lot of the time to go out and to reach and achieve your own success. So that's the first thing: read more and educate yourself, and put in that time to really focus on yourself and your own education. So the second thing I've written down that I want to focus on, and it's so easily done, is to try and stay focused on my goals. Now, obviously at the beginning of the video, I mentioned getting a journal and writing down your targets and your goals, but it's so easy for that journal to just be thrown in a pile or to be left in your drawer and ignored. If you're going to the effort and you've done the first step of actually writing a list and writing a set of goals, which if you have done is brilliant, and you're on the first step to planning your year out, which is fantastic, is actually reminding yourself and constantly revisiting that. What have you achieved? Have you done something to help you achieve that goal? And you've got to remember, like, you've got many more years ahead of you. This is not a quick journey. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. So don't worry yourself about achieving and hitting all of those targets for that year. Some of these targets, as I've said, they need to be quite ambitious. Others, you want to put those down as things that you can easily achieve. But remind yourself constantly and stay true to yourself and hold yourself accountable. Like, if you've written those down on a list, it obviously meant something to you. And that doesn't mean to say those goals can't change, they can't adapt, but don't just ignore them and just be satisfied that you've written a list, because a list doesn't do anything. You have to actually try and work towards those and to do what you've written down. So that's the next thing that I want to do, and I'd probably advise you try and do the same, is keep yourself and hold yourself accountable for the things you want to achieve, and that's the only way that you're going to succeed at those things. So another target that I really want to focus on this year is to really think about, take care over my sort of mental and physical well-being and health. Now, I am fairly fit. I like to keep myself active. I'm fairly positive and upbeat, although I have been through sort of different stages of mental health. I would never say I've struggled with it, but obviously everyone goes through periods of stress and frustration and anger and anxiety and many other things as well. But I think for 2020, I really want to spend a little bit more time to think and to reflect. Is my diet still in check? Am I still keeping fit and healthy? Am I taking the appropriate steps to keep my body feeling good, feeling fit, and allowing my body to sort of rejuvenate and to be healthy? And the same with my mind. That might come in different forms. That might come in meditation, that could come in reading, that could come through music, that could just come through the act of doing something physical, like going out for a walk. The great thing is that we're at a time now where people are being very open and honest and are seeking help, but there are also a lot of people that aren't. And so if you're watching this, I do implore you to really think carefully about your physical and mental health, because it's the most important thing we have. It's all well and good trying to think about being successful in business, or passing your degree, or whatever it might be, improving your career, getting those luxury items you've always wanted. But if your mental and your physical health is not good and you are in a place where you're struggling, everything else kind of is irrelevant, because you might have all the things that you have always wanted, but if you're not actually happy, then you're not going to enjoy those things, and those things aren't going to mean the same thing. So I'm really going to focus on it. I'm going to try and take sort of a moment every day, ideally, to focus on both, to focus on my mental health, be that have a time of reflection, as well as my physical, even if that's a case of walking around the block with a podcast in my ears to try and, just relax. And I think that it's going to be something that if I do that, it will have a serious positive benefit. And actually it would probably help me achieve those goals that I really want to achieve. So that's the sort of the number one thing. The next thing, and as I said, this kind of like rolls into what I've just spoken about in terms of physical and mental well-being, is to really think and focus on humility. I really want to try and stay humble this year. I want to try and give back. I want to try and be there for other people. Now, I would like to think that I do that already, but everyone has points where they're kind of blinded by their own ambition and their own goals, and dare I say it, are almost a little bit selfish. And sometimes you have to be selfish, but there's always times where you can actually give back to other people and help. That could be helping out a charity or donating to a charity. That could be talking to a friend that you've not spoken to for a while. That could be checking in with your parents if you live far away, or just smiling at someone in the street if as you walk past them. And it has been proven, and I'm not going to quote this, but it has been proven that actually you can improve your own mental health, and you can get those endorphins kicking just by giving back and being kind to other people. So wrapping in with my own mental and physical health and well-being, I'm also going to try and be humble and think about my humility and give back and be kind and humble to other people and to support other people too. Okay guys, and the sort of the last thing really that's on my list, and this is quite a big one, is to really think of multiple ways of enriching my life. I've kind of written a rough list down, but essentially that includes trying to meet new people, have new and different conversations, and not just small talk, but finding more out about those people that you have around you that you probably don't know as well as you could do. Asking them about their families, really trying to enrich yourself and also enrich their lives too. Trying new foods, going and finding out about new cultures. I've got a goal this year to travel more. My hope and my intention is to do more travel, and hopefully in doing so I'll broaden those horizons and I'll learn about new cultures and get that first-hand experience that is so vital and important. And I have had, and I've been very fortunate that I've had lots of opportunities to travel and go abroad, and the travelling has really opened my eyes to lots of different things. And unfortunately, due to work and my own ambition, I've not actually travelled that much in the last couple of years. So this 2020 will be a year of travel for me, hopefully. Hopefully I'll broaden my horizons and sort of meet and see new things and new people. So yeah, and that also includes business as well. I want to give myself more opportunities. One of the things I really want to do is become a little bit more financially stable, financially independent. I want to create different sort of streams of income rather than just focusing on my standard job. I want to grow my YouTube channel. I'm possibly looking at starting up a podcast. There are lots of different things on the horizon that I would love to get involved with, and opening myself up to those opportunities is one of many ways of doing that. So yeah, that's pretty much my list. That's a list of things that I really want to achieve for 2020. Now, the whole reason I've created this video and I've done this sort of just setting up a camera and talking to it is because I always find that the new year, and it shouldn't really be any different to any time of the year, but it just is. You know, starting a new year, and obviously this is going to be the beginning of a new decade, is often a nice reset for a lot of people. It's a nice way of, rejuvenating their lives and being a bit more refreshed and having a different mental perspective on things. And so I think that by doing this video, even if one person watches 5 seconds of it and they take something away from it, then I'm very humble and happy by that. So and actually it's good for me, because I can look back at this in a month's time where I'm not feeling great and I can be like, no, that's the Alex that I want to still be. I want to be that person who's confident and who's motivated and eager to succeed and to think about that list and the things I've spoken about in this video. So I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. It is New Year's Eve. Oh my god, 2020 is almost over. Hope you guys have an enjoyable New Year's Eve. Try not to drink too much. Try and celebrate, but within control, so you don't wake up tomorrow at the beginning of the new decade in 2020 feeling crap and horrible. Try and wake up and have a really enjoyable start to 2020. If you guys enjoyed this video, thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button. If you want to catch up with any of my footage and see where I go in 2020, please consider subscribing. And if you've got any comments about anything I've spoken about, or anything that you think that you would benefit, my audience or the audience would benefit from, comment down below, guys. And yeah, let's start 2020 right. Right, I'm gonna head off because I've got an empire to build. Peace.